All hail a beard, it's your boy Big Beard B, and we back for another edition of Big Beard Business. So I was recently on a trip down to the 941 in Sarasota, Florida, and I wanted to see my good people over at Saks. And while I was there, I began to look around, and things had changed up quite a bit. The entire city has, for that matter. Now, as I'm diving into what is now available within this Saks, I began to think, one, there is nothing here in Chattanooga for me to use, but two, what is readily available for some of you out there who may not be in tier 1 markets? And when I think of tier 1 markets, I think of major poppin' cities where you may have a lot of different shopping options available to you. Because we talk about luxury fragrance brands, and some of you leave the videos and have no clue where to start. So today we're going to talk about some of the most available luxury brands and some fragrances to check out from them. Now, when I think of luxury fragrance brands that may not be as readily available as I would like them to be, at least where I am, I think of things like Hermetica, right? So this one is Jade 888. From the fragrance brand of Hermetica. Not readily available here. I think of things like Penhaligon. I think of things like Nishane. I think of things like BDK, and the list goes on because there are a lot of brands. And one that I talk about a lot is the House of Xerjoff, okay? So those are fragrance brands that are luxury. They're known for quality, but they're not readily available. However, the buck doesn't stop there. There are some of the more popular, the cool kids, so to speak, who are readily available for you to purchase. And one that immediately comes to mind for me is that of Kilian. Now, Kilian is a fragrance brand that I love to talk about, not only on camera, but when I'm speaking of fragrances to people in the real world, because I think the heritage of what the company offers and also the switch and the pivot of what Kilian has done from the Hennessy line. Now, the fragrance that I have in hand is that of Angel Share, which is an amazing fragrance that gets the people going. Yes, because this is just an amazing scent. This one is sensual. It really works in this cooler weather. And when my wife smelled this, she said, I got to have it. Listen, this is a really dope fragrance. And I won't talk too much about this, but when I think about the House of Kilian, what they offer, I think they do a great job of bringing in that heritage, right, of Hennessy. They really infuse a lot of cognacs and whiskeys within their fragrances and really begin to create something a little bit different, as well as what to expect. You understand when you get into Kilian, a lot of those darker, richer fragrances of what you can experience, and this top-notch quality there. So one of the fragrances I would recommend is Angel Share. Another one I am a huge fan of and advocate of is the 2017 release of Black Phantom. Okay, be sure to check that fragrance out, as well as Angel Share if you are looking for a fragrance that may be readily available in your area. Now, as I mentioned, things had changed up quite a bit within the particular Saks I was in, so shout out to my people over at UTC, University Town Center in Sarasota, Florida. When I left, they didn't have this brand here, but they do have it now, and I figured if they have it now, it may be more readily available where you are, so I want to talk about it. And that is the brand of MFK, or Maison Francis Kurkdjian. All right, so the fragrance that I have in here is L'Homme à la Rose, but one of my favorite fragrances from him is Grand Soir. Now, when I think about what MFK does, right, what they offer, it's really quality. It's luxury, it's upscale, and you really get something that is extremely refined within their fragrances. Now, I recently did a video talking about L'Homme à la Rose being a spring fragrance that gets women going, and it does a more sensual side in terms of that note of rose. However, Grand Soir is that fragrance that you use to really close out the night, as it's sexy, sensual, seductive, and you can get some compliments in on this one as well. The line in itself stands far beyond these two fragrances, and I personally have my own fragrances with Francis Kurkdjian and Jerome DiMarino, which are Exalted Wheat and Idola. So if you have not had the opportunity to check out these fragrances, I'll leave that linked and listed down below for you as well, because those are also amazing. But within these fragrances, you got Emerus Homme, which is going to be a great fragrance as we get into spring, and Petit Matin as well is something that you should try. So that is a brand that is known for luxury, known for quality, and it's not going to be readily available for everyone, especially not the Macy's and the Dillard shoppers. If you want something that's going to be a little bit different, be sure to check out Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Now, there's no way I can talk about luxury fragrance brands that are readily available without speaking of the house of Creed. No matter if I'm going into a Saks, Neiman Marcus, etc., this brand is readily available and it draws in a crowd. The fragrance house that I'm talking about again is Creed, and this one here is Green Irish Tweed. Now, I went with this one as this one is a seasonal favorite as we're hopping into spring here. This is a scent that really embodies what springtime is to me. But there's obviously the king Aventus readily available for them as well. You have Millésime Imperial. You have one of my personal favorites of Silver Mountain Water. You have Royal Oud. Also have the late Royale Exclusive lineup, Spice and Wood, Pure White Cologne. You see where I'm going here. There are a plethora of fragrances available from them as well. Now, for me, Creed is really a classy scent, but it also has something that couldn't be dressed down. I think it's extremely recognizable these days, more so Aventus than maybe Green Irish Tweed or Silver Mountain Water. But if you want some name recognition behind it, people are going to know what you're rocking when you tell them Creed, even if they're not frag hits. All right, so that's something I think you should try out. Be sure to explore, go beyond just the Aventus, which most people are going to go for. I was there was this firefighter there, and he was getting some Decants of fragrances, and obviously he was picking up Aventus, but you know what I told him to get? Silver Mountain Water. The porcelain guard, aka Mr. Steal Your Wife, he did take my suggestion. So there you have it. Now, when we're speaking of fragrance brands, this one is readily available almost everywhere, but not specifically when it gets into the private blend collection. And for those of you who are really into fragrances, you already know the house that I'm talking about, and that one is the house of Tom Ford, aka Tom 44. Now, the fragrance that I want to talk about today is Ebon Fumé, which is one of their newer releases, but he did have a trio of rose fragrances drop. To me, those aren't it, my guy. Those are not fragrances that I do enjoy, but Ebon Fumé is a masterpiece to me, and I think a lot of people out there will really dig this one. It's something that's extremely different about this particular fragrance that plays on a note of Palo Santo. This one has the smoky vibe. It's also extremely woody and leathery. Oh my goodness, there's just something that I really enjoy about this fragrance. So nice that I had to buy it twice. I purchased it for myself. My missus smelled it and she said she had to have it as well, so she also has it. Now this one again comes from a creator that I call the master of seduction, Tom Ford. My guy Kevin Samuels also calls him that because, well, when you're looking for sensual fragrances and really diving into roses, ouds, and ambers done in extremely different ways, then this brand really stands out and they come to mind. So be sure to check Tom Ford out, specifically the private blend collection. Now the signature series is one that really gets the job done as well. You got things like Noir Extreme that stand out there. You also have Tom Ford's Grey Vetiver that stands out there. There's a lot going on, ombre leather, etc. Right? So you can dive into the brand, check out some fragrances, but if you really want to up your game a bit, be sure to check out the private blend collection, and those things can also be blended together. See what I did there? Private blend. Those things can be blended together. You can wear them layered and really create an entirely different scent. And the final brand that I want to talk about is one that is extremely popular as well. Obviously Tom Ford is, right? But this one is extremely popular as well, and we'll leave that to 2 Chainz if we're talking about it in terms of hip-hop culture. And this fragrance brand is that of Bar number 9. Now, bar number 9 is readily available. I've seen this thing in so many different places, and this one is Bleecker Street. Now, similar to Green Irish Tweed, this one is a seasonal favorite. As we approach the springtime, well, this one does get a lot of love. Now, aside from fragrances like Bleecker Street, you also have Lafayette Street, you have Jones Beach, you have Shelter Island, you have New York Oud. You also have the Dubai exclusives collections, which are really just taking fragrances up another notch. Now, when it comes down to Bond, some people give Bond some flack for being like a clone brand, as they have fragrances that may or may not be similar to others, and some have been created after Bond fragrances. But what I'll say is that if you are looking to explore a wide range of fragrances, the Bond is definitely what you would do. Now, they are unique in a sense that they are creating fragrances to represent specific places in New York. So therefore, you'll hear things in terms of their names based around things that you might have heard if you explored New York. Some of their fragrances you may have heard of: Bleecker Street, Lafayette Street, Jones Beach, Montauk, Governor Island. You see where I'm going here? There are so many fragrances that really represent all New York has to offer, and they have a lot. As I mentioned, you go in, you check out their displays, you're gonna see around 50 to 60 fragrances on display for you to try out. It can be overwhelming, but they're a really good fragrance company in my personal opinion. So those are just 5 luxury fragrance brands that are readily available in almost every tier market. All right, so if you're looking for fragrances, you're looking to explore, try something new, step outside of your Macy's and Dillard's, be sure to walk into a Saks, Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom's, Lord & Taylor's, etc., whatever you have, and be sure to try out some of these fragrance brands, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what they have to offer, especially as you begin to dab your toe into the world of niche perfumery. And then you can begin to explore some of the others that we talked about within this video, how we kicked it off. But there's others out there that I really enjoy. Obviously, the House of PDM, amazing fragrance house. Also, you have Initio, amazing fragrance house, and the list just does go on. So be sure to try out these fragrances. Let me know, what fragrance brands do you wish were available in your area and they are not. Listen, if you want to try out fragrances, be sure to click on some of the links down below within the description box, because they are a great place to start if you don't have these readily available. And I would ask that you give my fragrances a try as well. Again, I do have a few with some of the best master perfumers out there. I have some that have done work with Kilian, some have done work on their own, MFK, and the YSL, the list goes on. So that's all I have for you guys and girls today. As always, I'm your boy, Big Beard B. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend that we are back again. And you already know what I need you to do. Just hit the goddamn